Can we talk a little bit about red flags for us all to look out for, and then maybe talk a little bit about why the courts I mean, I'm telling you, Child Protective Service is very quick to get a child away when it's physical harm. But when it comes to this emotional abuse, that turns physical, right? Mm-hmm. Why is it so hard to separate the child from the perpetrator?
Well, and I think oftentimes it's because emotional abuse also has this manipulative, coercive component. They almost show a glee and a joy in keeping the doctors guessing and not being able to figure that out. And as children, we are taught to trust our parents. And whatever they tell us, we do believe it. And so if our parents are saying, I'm only yelling at you, or I'm only being mean to you for your own good, you can believe that as a child. And when your mom or your dad says, you're sick and that's why you have to keep going to the doctor, who are you to question an adult? And I think that is where CPS, honestly, in my humble opinion, needs more training around, is how to detect the warning signs of emotional coercion and coercive control of a child.
But if you go down some of the red flags of Munchausen by proxy, one of the first ones were the self-reported symptoms, signs, they're from the caretaker, but the doctor can never corroborate them. At a minimum, I look at Jordan and I think, what if we had just given her a few months in a protected environment and all of a sudden she's healthy? Then you know.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about some red flags that people can look for?
Absolutely. I think one thing is when you see that the child is never allowed to speak in public, or they're allowed to speak, but only when the caregiver is there, and the caregiver will be feeding them lines as to what they should be saying. They will be giving them positive reinforcement for saying certain types of things that corroborate this medical picture. And I think the other thing is how the parent is behind closed doors. And there have been these sort of investigations where they will put a camera on somebody and then the person thinks that the doctors are out of the room and the partner or the parent becomes extremely abusive to the child, chastises them for not behaving in a certain way in front of the doctors. And then when the doctors come in, here they are again, hugging the child, taking care of the child, being that nurturing parent.
And for other family members, just to be aware that if the symptoms and signs don't fit the picture that the person that is controlling this process is trying to sell you on, if it just doesn't fit, then that's another red flag.
Absolutely.
And the doctor shopping element. In this case, if constantly the child is being taken to different doctors, it can become one of those things where, and this will be my prescription for today, is if you suspect this could be happening to someone you know or love, and maybe you're an ancillary figure, maybe you're an aunt or an uncle, you need to raise your suspicions because, again, these are not always obvious. They are very difficult. And our job today was certainly not to be judge and jury, but to just share stories, and in particular to share Jordan's story. We wish her nothing but the best moving forward. For resources or anything you may have missed on today's show, please visit us at thedoctorstv.com.